Giant pandas are among the world's rarest of mammals. In fact, they're so rare, they're in danger of extinction. There's now a worldwide program to save them from that fate. You may have been lucky enough to see them in zoos. But naturally, they live in China, where they survive by eating bamboos, and their thick fur enables them to withstand the fierce winters that fill their valleys with snow. Well, if you've seen one, or even if you haven't, you can make yourself a little memento of them. In fact, of any animal that is able to survive severe snowstorms. You don't need much. A little screw-top jar that really is going to be watertight, some plasticine, I'm using green for grass, a little twig or two, and of course the model animal, and I'm going to use a panda because I like them. Well, this screw-top jar can be of any kind, but make sure that when the lid is screwed on, it really is going to be able to hold water and not spill it out. That's quite crucial. But for now, we'll take that off because we need to start by putting things into the screw top. Now, by grabbing this plasticine and working it until it's soft, I can squash it into there and spread it out inside that lid. Notice that I'm squashing it right to the edge. And that, of course, sticks it onto the lid so it won't come loose. And it means that when the lid is screwed onto the jar, the plasticine actually forms a watertight seal as well. That's very good, because I've now got a little hill taller than the edge of the lid, and on that hill I can place my little animal. And by pressing it in, I can make sure it's really going to stay put. And it looks, for all the world, as if it's just sitting there. Well, for dressing it up, I can put a twig in, but before you do that, just plunge the twig into the jar, make sure it's going to go all the way in. If it's too long, of course, you won't be able to screw the lid onto the jar. However, it's going to fit, so let's put that in behind the panda. And now we've got a little scene, a panda sitting underneath a wintry and leafless tree. And just to check, let me put it onto there, and yes, it's going to fit inside there perfectly. Well, let's take it off there and move to the next bit. Well, the jar's actually going to be full of water, not air, and it's going to have snow in it. And the snow is made by taking a piece of paper and really cutting a whole lot of strips so it looks like a paintbrush. And those strips are about 1 millimetre apart. Very fine. You need to be patient doing this and cut them pretty long, because when you've finished doing that, you turn the whole thing around and cut millimetre strips across the other way. And that, of course, produces tiny squares of paper that are about 1 millimetre square. And if you make them too thick, they're going to be much too big to act as snowflakes. But by doing this for quite a while, and patience is the clue here, you end up with quite a pile of them. I've got them here on this piece of paper. Let me tip them into the jar like that, and now add the water that's going to be really the wintry atmosphere. Here we go. Pour it in there, and it'll take a little while before that soaks into the paper and allows it to sink. Don't top it up right to the top. You need a little bit of air in here, or else you can't shake the whole thing up. But when you think the paper is soggy enough, put the whole scene like that, screw it up, and really screw it up tightly enough to make a watertight seal. There we go. Squash it down. Dry the whole thing off if it's got a bit mucky, and then turn it upside down. And by shaking it round and letting it rest, you've got your panda in a snowstorm.